say before I even get into this talk is if you have barely gotten into Schema or you're confused about it, you don't understand it, don't worry about jotting down like a billion notes or trying to keep up. Just go for understanding here. That's kind of the point of my talk. I'm going to keep it really basic so you can understand what I'm talking about, and then it'll lead into what John's going to present to you guys later. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little game here, which is called What Am I Talking About? All right. If I have the word bat, just yell it out. What am I talking about?
Little black flying. Baseball. Batman.
All right.
Stick of wood.
All right. We got 3 different answers there. But I was talking about that.
That's wrong.
All right. So whoever called that out. So he took a guess and he was right. All right. Now what am I talking about?
My nickname.
His nickname.
Cash.
Cash? Are you sure? Actually, I was talking about the Pink Floyd song, Money. All right. What am I talking about?
Today.
Oh, I like that answer. All right.
Blacker.
Ganja. Any other answers?
Blacker.
Dandelion. All right. Well, I was talking about weed, guys. Stoners. All right. All right. Let's go back to bat. Now, what am I talking about?
Baseball. Bat again. See? Little flying black thing.
All right, we're talking about baseball. Now, do I know, is this a product being sold, or is this, Willie Mays biography? What is that? You have no idea. All right, now what am I talking about? Anybody? All right, yeah. Still talking about Pink Floyd. That's Dark Side of the Moon. All right. Now what am I talking about?
Today.
All right. So, as you can see that there's a lot of different answers for most of these, except when I gave you a little bit of a hint, right? So today's 420, so it's a hint about what I might be talking about. So this presentation is essentially about meaning, right? If you have a word or words on a page, it's hard to know what you're talking about unless you have semantics, right? So Google works the same way, except it's a lot dumber than a person, okay? So if it comes and crawls your page and it's just flat HTML, the only way you can kind of figure out what you're talking about is with other words on the page, or if you give it some help, right? So I like to say Google is a blind 5-year-old. That's a great SEO blog, by the way. Blind 5-year-old, if you've ever read it. Anybody read Blind 5-year-old?
AJ Cohen.
All right. Exactly right. Now, if you go on Wikipedia, this is where the screenshot is from. Why is that in parentheses right there? Because it's disambiguating what we're talking about, right? So if I put the word money into Wikipedia, it's going to give me a choice, all right? What am I talking about? So the goal with Wikipedia and Google in general is to establish data on what they call entities, right? And this way, Google doesn't have to guess as much, especially on page 1. If you only have 10 results out of 10 million, they're pretty much forced to guess unless you give them a lot of help, right? All right, so what is an entity? Well, an entity is just a thing, right? Literally, it's just a thing. We're describing a bat, we're describing money, even the song Pink Floyd is just a thing, okay? That's a thing. That's Bill. That's Swamp Thing. All right, that's thing, right? So you can see even with the word thing, there's a bunch of different things to talk about. Now I want to do something real quick. I want to hop over to Google Trends, so hopefully this will, let me pull up the internet here. You think I can pull up the net on this, Bill? Alright, let's yes. So we're going on Google Trends right now. I just want to show you guys kind of like how this applies live right now. All right. So who uses Google Trends? Everybody? Yeah. All right. So you can check out what's trending. All right. So if I type in Captain America, so I can't even spell it right. All right. Notice how Google has given me kind of like 2 choices here, right? There's Captain America, the search term, but then there's Captain America, the fictional superhero. All right. Now, who's a comic book nerd in here? Just admit it. All right. Is Captain America and Captain America Civil War, are those the same thing?
I'm going to say
Is that the same thing? No, it's not, right? All right. Right here, Google is basically saying you can get data on the search term Captain America, so what people are typing in, but you don't know what it is. Or do you want the thing we know what it is, Captain America, the fictional superhero? All right, so let's say the search term, right? Now, if I hit enter, it's going to give me, what we're going to do is we're going to tap into Google's own data on an entity right now in the SERPs, okay? If you come down here to the bottom where it says related searches, Google is basically calling this topics, but what do you see here? Captain America, the First Avenger, Captain America, fictional superhero, Captain America Civil War, which is a movie coming out in 2016, right? These are all different things. They're not all the same thing. Okay, so you can see if somebody just types in Captain America, you don't know exactly what they're looking for. There's got to be a way to disambiguate that in a way. Now let's go into code here. So this is a little embed button, so you can embed these on your website. But if you take a look at this embed code, what does it say right there? Top entities. So this is kind of like Google tipping their hand in a way. So on the database that they're collecting, and a lot of this is in a way associated with Wikipedia, I think, they're telling you right here what the entities actually are. Okay? So if you have this information and you're writing a blog on Captain America, wouldn't it be great to tell Google exactly what you're talking about, whether it's Captain America the superhero or the movie? Right. All right. Let's go back. Alright, so now we're back to thing. So I'm sure a lot of you guys who keep up with Google News saw that the head of search basically retired and they replaced him with a guy that's going to be an artificial intelligence expert, right? So if that's the case, what do you think that means? They're going to get into machine learning, trying to identify entities like we would, right? Like you guys knew I was talking about weed, the drug, because I put today on the screen, right? Here today's 420. Now here's a patent, sorry it's cut off there. This is a patent from almost the same exact time in February of 2016 that says Google is releasing an entity they're basically creating an entity identification model training system. This is really nerdy, and don't even worry about reading this right now. The point is, you can see that they're moving in this direction, right? They're going for artificial intelligence that can figure out what's on a page pretty damn easily. Right? Anybody have any questions about that? All right. So you might be wondering, well, how do we thingify our websites, right? Like, how do we actually add information to our websites that helps Google figure out what it is we're actually talking about on a page, okay? And that's where Schema.org comes in, all right? So for anybody in here who's messed around with Schema.org, it can be intimidating as hell. It can be really complicated. So what I'm going to do is try to walk you through it a little bit. Like I said, don't necessarily take notes. Just try to let's go for understanding. So think about what we just talked about now and how that lends itself to Schema.org. So this is basically an initiative to create data on the web using code in a way. All right. So you can create a payload of information to put on your website that says Google, Bing, Yahoo, we're talking about Captain America Civil War. All right. We're not talking about Captain America. Now, probably the most important page on Schema.org is called the full hierarchy. All right. And what this is basically a list of is things. Okay. It starts with thing, in fact. All right, so when you get to schema.org, what you're doing is you're looking for what to apply to your website. Okay, what code from this database do I put on my website so that I can tell Google this is what I'm talking about. All right. It says right here that thing is basically the main thing is thing. Right? You can only say that word so many times before it even gets annoying in the context of what we're talking about, right? So if you understand that, that's pretty much half the game. That almost is the whole game. If you understand that we're talking about things here. All right. Now, when you click on an actual thing, let's click on. We clicked on auto dealer for this example. Who does local SEO or local search? Everybody, probably everybody in here to an extent. All right. I think schema.org is awesome when it comes to local SEO because you can identify what the business is, where it is, and disambiguate it from somebody's blog, for example. I could be a guy talking about cars in Philadelphia, but that doesn't mean I actually sell cars, right? Doesn't mean I work on tires, change, give you a tune-up, whatever it is. So this lets me say this is an auto dealer. This guy or this company is somebody that actually sells cars. So when Google comes to the site, they say, oh, okay, now we get it, right? Johnny Brothers car mechanics are auto dealers or whatever it is. When you're actually on a page on schema.org, there's a section called property, okay? Property is where you start building on what you're declaring, okay? So we declared a thing, auto dealer, right? So now we got to give it more information. So what about this auto dealer are we trying to tell Google or Bing or Yahoo, right? All right, so in this example, there's branch code, currencies accepted, opening hours. That's a good one, right? Everyone in here has pulled up their phone and that you can see when a company is open, when they're closed. Now, as you declare metadata and properties for each thing, schema.org is telling you that there's a type expected of that. All right, so this is where, if you're a beginner, I'm probably going to start losing you. That's all right. Just go for understanding here. All right, so a type could actually be a thing associated with properties. All right, so if we're talking about the founder of this auto dealer, let's say it's Bill. All right, if it's Bill Rowland.
Why am I shit?
It's him. We're gonna go somewhere else, but right. So if it's him, right, we can declare that he's the founder. All right. But now we got to declare another thing, right? We got to talk about a person now. All right. So we just said, okay, now we got Bill Rowland's auto dealership, which we're declaring as a thing. But if he's the founder, I also have to declare a person, right? I'm talking about Bill Rowland, the auto dealer. Now, do you think there's other Bill Rowlands in the world? There's only one, right?
Only one.
In his case, there's only one. Extremely uncommon name. But if there's other ones, how does Google know? Are we talking about Bill Rowland, the auto dealer? Bill Rowland, the cocktail guy? I don't know. If you type in Barack Obama, what happens? It says first president or the president of the United States, right? If you ask Google, who is the president of the United States, what happens? Right. You get an answer right in the search. They don't send you to Wikipedia. They just tell you. We know what and who the president of the United States is, so we're going to just tell you right in the search. Ultimately, I think that's where Google wants to be, but think about how hard that's going to be to answer every possible question without sending you to a website, right? So some of you, this is what you're thinking right now, and that's all right. Schema.org gives you a couple ways to apply this code. Google recommends some. Right now, I think JSON LD is the best way to do it. Now, if you have sites that don't use that, that's totally fine. The other formats are microdata. Kind of a lot of people use. Yeah, I heard it groan. I don't know if that was for microdata. If you are not a coder, I am not a coder at all. I suck at coding. Don't know JavaScript, don't know HTML. But I can do this. It's really easy. All right. As soon as you do this a couple of times, it's actually not that hard. All right. What happens is you just learn. What are we trying to do here? We're trying to tell Google what we are. All right. We have Bill Rowland's auto dealership. So I just got to use this to say that, right? Well, it's actually really easy because it's pretty much you're just filling in a template. All right. So that is JavaScript, but it's just point and click. Just fill in the information, right? How do you read this? All right. Well, the opening line is just saying, okay, here's a piece of code, and then the context is schema.org. So we just looked at schema.org, so we're declaring that this is the database of stuff. This is the meta information and tagging that we're going to use for this, and then the type is a person, right? Is Captain America a person? He's trying to be.
He's kind of a native person.
Yeah, he's a movement.
I like the power.
Where's your shield, dude? Are you Captain America?
Give him a couple more beers.
Captain America's right here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a human being. No, he is not a person. He's a fictional character. It'd be awesome if he was real, but he's not a person. So you would not use person to talk about Captain America. And Google will probably just get confused. What the hell are you talking about? There's no real Captain America. This guy, John Doe, has a job title. He's a graduate research assistant at the University of Dreams. This is not me. This is Google. All right.
That's the one fun that guy who wrote that page got there.
Right. This guy it was probably 420 last year. I read this. All right. Now he's also saying you can find this guy at example.com. All right. You really got creative with that. All right. And then there's a physical address. Okay. You're declaring an actual street, a locality, and a region. All right. Now, I highly recommend if you're going to take a stab at building this code that you do it directly into a tool that Google gives you that will check it on the fly and smack you and say it's wrong. No, it's still wrong. Just keep going, fix it. There's a comma. Come on. You're almost there. All right. If you build this in a text file, you're going to drive yourself insane, especially if you're not a coder. All right, because one comma will keep you up until 4 in the morning. All right. What you do is you drop your source code right in here. Now, I can do a live example of this if you guys want. I don't know how much time we have. I can just copy and paste code into there and we can mess with it. But if you get into this yourself, build your code right where it says that and put your source code. All right? Because as you do it, you can validate it and it will keep telling you that you're wrong. You can also grab code from your existing website, slap it on there, and validate it. Now, if it's on your website and it's wrong, then that's just bad.
Very true.
All right. So now here we go again. If we're gonna do here's local business schema. Okay. Now if you go to the hierarchy that we looked at earlier, the point of the hierarchy is to drill down to specifics. What's at the top of the hierarchy? Thing, right? That's like literally the least specific thing possible. Local business is more specific than thing. Now we're really narrowing it down. All right, but you can get even more specific than a local business. What are we in right now? We're in a bar, right? So there is schema for bar or pub. Okay, tell Google that this is a bar or a pub. All right, tell Google what the address is. Okay, now notice that there's type and then there's type again, which means it's two things we're talking about. Okay. We're playing the thing game. Local business, change that to bar. Declare an address. Know where your commas are. Description is basically what you think it is. Name, telephone. Now, you can actually go to schema.org and there's probably 50 other things you can add, right? But this is just real simple. I would say do as much of it as you can. If you're a newbie, don't worry about it. Right? Do not just keep adding shit because you'll miss a comma and you'll be up all night. All right, let's get into some ninja stuff. What I want you to notice is that when you're declaring things, all right, everything like local business, bar, blog, Captain America, they all use the properties from thing, the highest thing. It's hard to explain, so I might have to go to Schema Live to understand this. If you have questions about what I'm talking about, just come see me afterwards. All right. In my opinion, I think you should try to use the properties from the highest level to all of the things you're declaring. For example, same as. Anyone know what same as means?
Same as.
Exactly what? Yeah. What do you think? Same as. Okay. Same as is basically a universal property. Not everything can be. You can't use the same properties on everything. However, there are many that you can use on everything. They're universal. Okay, so I think you should use them whenever you can. All right. Same as is basically saying, okay, here's Captain America. Google, I want you to go check out this database or even this Wikipedia page describing Captain America, the fictional superhero. Okay. You're basically adding, so we had local business, or let's go with Captain America, his name, his description, same as that Captain America on Wikipedia, right? That makes sense? As your business, you can say, this website, my business, is the same as that Facebook page, right? Bill's Bar on Facebook. Add everything. Add every single social property you have. Google Plus. If you blog somewhere, give Google as much information as possible so that when they come evaluate this thing, that they can start creating an entity, right?
So they're creating connections.
That's right.
Everything. So if it's this bar, and it's on Facebook, and it's Twitter, and so on. I mean, it's all, you're basically interlinking it all.
Exactly. That's right. Because now what are we doing? We are creating an entity. And what did the Google Trends thing say? Right? They're collecting data on top entities, right? I have a client who does real estate. Actually, I have two clients. One's real estate, one's staffing. On my client's website, I declared that he's a person, right? He's a real estate agent. Now, if you type his name in to Google, the knowledge graph comes up. Everyone knows what the knowledge graph is? It's basically that informational box that comes up on the right. When you type in anything on Google, if you type in Barack Obama, it'll give you his biographical information. When I type in my client's real estate, like when I type in his name, his real estate company shows up on the knowledge graph. Because I said to Google, he's the founder of this company, right? And there's the same ads, right? This company, him, same ads, okay? There's a more advanced property called additional type, which I'm playing around with now. If anyone has experience with this, let's talk afterwards. But this is another way of giving the bot some more food, I like to call it. All right, so if we declare a bar or a pub, that's the type. But we can give it an additional type, like entertainment venue, right? Or a concert venue or something. So you can send it to a database of information or of entities that says, by the way, this is what we're talking about. Go check out this information on entertainment businesses. Now what are you doing? You're creating an association with your business with entertainment, with live music, whatever it is. Okay. I like to add schema wherever I can. All right. Anything that takes the code and it validates. Now, be careful with this. Play around with it, but you can add schema to some of your social properties, right? Or high domain authority properties if you're familiar with Moz. All right. So when Google comes and crawls your blog spot, for example, what if you declared, your bar on a blog spot? So now Google has two places that say, okay, this is the same thing we're talking about. All right. There's definitely another Bill's bar somewhere, but what if that Bill's bar and this Bill's bar are the same? All right. If you have a blog or if you have clients that publish, you should go through and declare the fact that this is an article. This is not a product that we're selling. This is an article about how to change a tire. We're not selling tires, right? You can mark up YouTube videos using a video object code. This is getting a little bit more advanced, so like I said, if you're falling asleep or you're not a coder, it's fine. Come back to all this later. One thing I like to do is learn how to try to explain this to your clients, because if you're sitting in a meeting and you say, hey guys, we're going to apply schema.org to your site, you're going to go, what the hell is that? If you don't have a good answer to that, you're going to fumble, you don't really know what you're talking about. You can put Swamp Thing up there and try to explain it. What I do is I just frame it in a way that you say, okay, we're working with industry standard best practices, right? This is advanced technology that supports the ever-growing semantic web, all right? Try to frame it so that they might understand and accept it. I find if you kind of get too technical with some clients, if you go talk to Bill, the owner of Bill's Bar, and you tell him you're going to put schema on his website, he's going to go, whatever, dude. Just do it. Now, I would say follow blogs, but you got to be real careful because there's a bazillion blogs out there. A lot of them are total crap. Here's my recommended guy. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Aaron Bradley from SEOskeptic.com. This guy's a total geek, and he has great information. All right? He's always in the know. He'll geek out on you. He'll answer your questions. He has a Google community called Semantic Search Marketing. Great community. People are dropping good information in there all the time. Sometimes the slightest little hint or somebody writes an awesome blog post, they'll drop it in that community. He moderates it, so it's not really any spamming or low quality articles. A lot of it's really great. Some of the stuff that you learn in here is like ever evolving, up to the minute, constant information, right? So if you're constantly popping into this community, which right now has like 3,000 members, most of them don't contribute, you can learn a lot of really cool tricks, all right? Now you can talk to me if you want. I'll give you a hand. Now even that right there, I'll give you a hand. That sentence to a robot doesn't really know, what does that mean? I'll give you a hand. All right. You can find me on Twitter. That's my email. You can call me. I don't care. Find me on Google+. If you are trying to put JSON LD or structured data on your site and you're totally new, or you have clients and you just don't feel like doing it, give me a ring. I'll help you. I'll try to walk you through it. I can do it for you. I think ultimately it's great for everyone to learn because it's actually not that hard, and once you start to learn it, you can repeat it pretty quickly. Okay. And that is it. Anybody have any questions?